Hey y'all, we are back. So listen, this one's gonna be a long one, y'all. I thought it was gonna be a short one, but then the way I am feeling and what I want to show you guys, we got a little smorgasbord on the screen for you, right? We got some players. So just imagine you walk in and you're a detective and you're building your case and you're putting pictures on the wall. Y'all seen it before. Y'all watch TV like I do too. And you find out your key players and who does what, and you try to take down an organization. And I think Kwame is on a good path of trying to figure out who is the get along gang and how this works, and how these relationships work and how this network seems to work. And their selective either journalisms or selective when finding their voices to speak out. So yes, we are going to be talking about Mr. Shaun King, the pimp activist or hustle activist, I like to call them. We're going to be talking about Tamika Mallory today. So yeah, that's what we're going to really focus on. But I wanted to make sure that you've seen these individuals because we have the show up at the top. You know, that show, that breakfast show that comes on New York, the syndicated show, number one, award winning on Revolt TV. Millions of people watch it on the YouTube. So it's popping. It's the bee's knees. It's the top of morning talk show right now. Even though I don't think it's the best, but it's what we got right now. So we're working with what we got. Anyway, so we have a vehicle, right? So every message needs a vehicle and how it spreads. And for me, the Breakfast Club is a great vehicle to have. Now they interview some of the most prominent people within our community. They've had up there Dr. Umar Johnson. He seems to be a friend of the Charlemagne. We've had Tariq Nasheed, seems to be a friend of the Charlemagne. Angela Rye visits up there quite frequently, and so does Amanda Seals. Now, if you know who those women are, or maybe you don't, they are very just like really powerful, amazing women. I don't want to take anything from them, but they seem to be selective right now. And I say selective because they are friends of the Charlemagne, and they are also, activists in their own rights, and they disappear every once in a while. They get so quiet when it comes to their friends, right? And so everyone needs a network, everyone needs a vehicle, and it just seems like this seems to be we may have to put the Breakfast Club in the middle of the poster board because I think that's where it starts at with this get along gang. I'm not going to be completely honest. I mean, if you think about what happened with Kwame Brown, he gets into it with the guys from the podcast, Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, that turns to him and being doxxed and exposed on the Breakfast Club. Okay, I mean, come on. We gotta see correlations here. So, but let's get back to our headline. Let's get to our story while we're really here, because, like I said, this is gonna be a long one, and I want you guys to keep in mind that these women that I also have on this screen, I've not heard from them. No one, they're not saying anything. Angela Rye seems to have been going back. I think, is she logging or something, like doing some type of It hasn't been very political lately, I will say. But I expect to hear her voice since she's done so much talking about Black Lives Matter and its impact and what it was doing during the campaign, good or bad, or however she felt. She made her voice be known. So I just would like her voice to be known about things like the Spanish fly peddler, Charlotte the God. And I would like Amanda Seals to address it. She says she's a womanist. Why are we not hearing this woman speak? All right, so it became breaking news and it became recent in the headlines where Tamir Rice, and if you don't know who Tamir Rice is, and if you don't follow the Black Lives Matter, Tamir Rice was, I think, 12 years old. I need this to hurry up and load up. Was about 12 years old, and he was playing in his neighborhood park with a toy gun. Nobody else was in the park. I guess the police was called by a neighbor or something. Y'all know how them white people do. The police were called, and the police arrived, and Tamir Rice was gunned down. Now, we've been fighting. People wanting the police officer to go to jail. It's been like a really sad story. But on top of that, his story has been wrapped into the Black Lives Matter movement because, of course, why do you have to kill a 12-year-old boy in a park? And more or less, it wasn't even anybody in the park. So, I mean, did you get on the horn? Did you say drop that? Did you do any of that? Was there any attempt to de-escalate the situation? And from what people say who have seen the video, because I can't see all these videos, okay? I protect my mental health in that way. From people who've seen the video, he didn't try at all. Nothing was said. It was within 20 seconds of him arriving, and Tamir Rice being fired upon and killed, like literally. And I guess his sister ended up arriving. I'm not gonna go too much into that, but what has happened after that, what we are seeing and was seeing is that, of course, people pick up causes, people fight, and a lot of activists take these stories and they go around and they curve their message around these stories, and they go advocate, and what ends up happening, they end up creating like nonprofit LLCs, right? And so with every nonprofit LLC to run a business, or I'm sorry, a charity or whatever, you have to have a cause. And what ends up happening is that tragically, these black men and these kids are being killed, and they latch on to these causes, and these causes become their talking points, and they end up building their coffers, off the backs of these mothers and off these children's deaths, right? So I'm gonna read to you what Tamir Rice's mom rips, an activist by the name Shaun King. Now, Shaun King is most definitely probably one of the most notorious hustle activists right now. He's always being called out. Like I found several, like I found a couple stories of like very questionable behavior. I'm just talking about as recently as 2019, 2020, of him being questioned about raising money and just not really showing anything for it. If you go back and look at a video that I previously did, and I talk about the hustle and how do you spot the hustle, right? These are the people who I'm talking about. Like, you have to be able to spot a con artist, and Shaun King and Tamika Mallory, to me, are most definitely. I'll say I think Shaun King is a con artist. I think this white man. I think we need to see some results from the 23andMe. I think we need to figure out why this white man is preying on our community, and raising money off of us, because that is John B's little fucking brother, and I don't care what y'all talking about. Like, there's just no way. And I went and read the story. We'll get there, but I just think that they're hustlers. Will I say that I think that Tamika Mallory does not care? I would not say that, but I also think it's a business. And I want to show you guys a video of an interview she did with The Real that had me all the way like, oh, bitch, you got me and my intelligence fucked up with how you try to play and you mix things and the things you say. And I say the word bitch, don't take it too personal, but it's just what it is. I think you're slick. And that's just what it is. So that's just how I feel about it. And when it comes to the fact that somebody's mother had to call you out, it's disgusting. I've been saying something for so long, and I'm nobody in the grand scheme of everything. But even being that only one of the few people, probably, I feel like, in the community or the neighborhood that I'm from, and what I can see in terms of what's on social media, everyone is like acting like sheep. Like, you guys don't have additional questions. You have no follow-up questions about what you're seeing and all this money being raised. Even in Boston, like, you have no question about the woman who is part of Black Lives Matter and has a nonprofit, Violence in Boston Groups, but she feeds you. She opens up food pantries. She stops no violence. You have no questions about these people, nothing at all. Like, your mind doesn't, like, you don't, like, are you feeding the perpetrator or the victim? Like, I'm just confused what a food pantry, what the fuck, is going to do for the violence. But I'm the troublemaker for asking these questions. But again, violence is still up, and they have a hot meal, I guess. All right, so let's get into it. This was published on June 23rd, 2021. This is who's Love B. Scott. We love, love, love. I love B. Scott's podcast. I just have to get back into it. So here we go. So this, the woman in the black coat, that Shamira, Shamira Rice, that's Tamira's mother. This woman right here, oh, it says it right here, right? Shamira Rice, the mother of Tamir Rice, said this week, do they list who's else in the picture? This is another, I forgot his mother, I forgot his name. Is it the Ferguson one or the one in Florida? I think this is, what is her name? Okay, yeah, Brown, right? Michael Brown, in Ferguson. Okay, so this is his mother. So y'all know about him in Missouri. He was shot and killed. So that's him. So I mean, it's happening so often. These women have become close, have become their support. So just wanted to point that out. Shamira Rice, the mother of Tamir Rice, said this week that she never gave Shaun King permission to raise nothing and criticized the Real Justice PAC co-founder for having robbed me for the death of my son. Okay, let's get into that. She didn't mince words, and I like that she didn't try to keep it cutesy and say the right thing for the public. And sometimes as Black people, we get so caught up in trying to come across the same or a certain way that we just want to say, oh, it's just not. You gotta handle it, and you gotta say the right thing. Sometimes you gotta tell a motherfucker you a thief, and that's just that. And I don't know how to politely tell you that you a thief. Like how you do that. Shamira Rice was apparently set off by King's publishing details of conversation they had after she previously blasted King and others, accusing them of benefiting from the death of her 12-year-old son, who was shot by Cleveland police while playing with a toy gun. Why do you think it's important to tell folks we had a conversation? Rice wrote in an Instagram post addressing to King. Well, we talked. We talked. I guess this is what he posts, right? Address the king. Well, we talked, and everything that was said was very toxic and uncomfortable for me to hear. That you raise additional money and then say you did not want to bother me. Personally, I don't understand how you sleep at night. She wrote, like, okay, so I didn't want to bother you about money that I raised in the name of your son. I didn't want to bother you, right? I didn't want to bother you, so I just decided to keep it. Oh, I mean, I could have shot you an email. I could have kept it in an account until, it was a good time to talk to you and to bother you. But altogether, I just felt like I shouldn't bother you, so I kept it. Like, where the fuck do they do that at? And much it was a much needed conversation, he wrote on the page for the episode. I learned a lot, listened a lot, shared my heart, and pledged we would continue to fight to get justice and accountability for Tamir. I promise you, these Tamikas, these Jesse Jacksons, these, oh my God, these Jim Jones of the world, I mean, it goes back. Like, I have went back and studied all of these pimp activists and Jesus, these pimp pastors. Like, this has been going on for so long, and it's just a gift of gab. Just being able to say things that make people feel good. You look how the way he worded this. Like, he worded his conversation with her as if though delusionally he feels like it was a good conversation, right? So look how he sums her up, all poetic. It was a much needed conversation, he wrote on the page for the episode. I learned a lot, I listened a lot, I shared my heart, and I pledged we would continue to fight to get justice and accountability for Tamir. That is how he summarizes a conversation that was not pleasant. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna read to you what she ended up posting. So why do you, Shaun King? Why do you think it is so important to tell folks we had a conversation? Well, we talked, and everything that was said was very toxic and uncomfortable for me to hear. That you raised additional money and then say you did not want to bother me. Personally, I don't understand how you sleep at night. I never gave you permission to raise nothing. Along with the United States, you robbed me for the death of my son. You gave me a cop in a donut conversation. All lies, Shaun. Please stop thinking we on the same page. As a white man acting black, you are an imposter that cannot be trusted. My son was 12 years old, and my son was 12 years old, and the DOJ needs to reopen his case, period. Tamir human rights was violated. Why would you so ever make it about you? You are a self-centered person, and God will deal with you, white man. Yes, he will deal with the white devil. That's exactly it, because I totally agree with her. totally agree with her. And a lot of times around death, you see the worst come out of people. You know how many family stories, like families who don't fuck with each other because they'll be around death and folks who do funny stuff with the money? Huh? I got a story. Believe me, folks will lie. Okay? Have insurance money and everything. Folks will lie to get money out of people. So it goes down around death and families and stuff like that. So I can just imagine now, because of the internet, we got people creating GoFundMe's and shit like that. And you can create it for anybody. So you do have people, trying to find different ways to scam. Samira Rice started this Tamir Rice Foundation 2017, 3 years after her son's death. In a post, I'm skipping around, y'all, because like I said, there's quite a bit of stuff that I do want to like kind of show you guys, and I want to kind of not drag everything too long. And we're already 15 minutes in, so yes. In a post on his website Tuesday, King outlined how he had raised a total of about $125,000 through several fundraisers and didn't receive a penny for his efforts. He also had nothing to do with disbursement of the money, he stated. Okay, the thing is, we're gonna leave there because I think you get the essence of what this mother is accusing him to do, right? So we're gonna skip around a little bit because it's like a tag team with them, okay? And I don't know if they work together, but I just think everybody's a part of the get along, go along gang, right? So we have Shaun King. So we have this is this week, week of June 20, well, it's now July 1st. But so this is recent, right? So then we have Tamika Mallory here, right? So people have also been questioning Tamika Mallory because I mean she's in Kentucky. I'm sorry, y'all. We got one more picture because anytime that I can pay homage to where's it at? Where's it at? I can highlight times when because I told you we stand over here for Beyonce and Kenya Moore, and I just want to show you guys this picture real quick, just because we talking about the get along, go along, get along gang, and how this shit works out, right? So we have was it this past season? Yes, the past season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Y'all know it was open explosively. You had Portia, freedom fighter, just out there like doing her thing, right? I found it really funny. Now, if you go listen to Michi X, she has a whole breakdown of how the protest has been happening in Kentucky for Breonna Taylor. Justice for Breonna Taylor. You most definitely support that. But so if you go listen to Michi X, she talks about the real organizer of the marches in Kentucky, right? And how he says that Tamika don't organize shit. She'll come around with a camera crew and act like she had put the whole thing together. And I found that really funny because if y'all remember, if y'all remember, my girl Kenya Moore called Portia out for her shenanigans. It was like, that girl ain't no damn, she ain't a part of shit. And this is all for camera. And I just thought it was really funny because I remember when Kenya came out and said something, that Tamika came out and was like, "Oh, I'm the one who called Portia," and it was like, "Yeah, I bet you did. Y'all both looking for these camera ops," and that's exactly what the actual person who was in charge of the situation in Kentucky. I mean, getting the protests together and putting the actual work in protesting week in and week out. So yes, most definitely, I'm not surprised, and Kenya was right. Like, girl, you fraudulent. Okay. Anyway, so I had that ready to go. All right, so then I came across this interview, right? Do I want to do this one first? Then I came across this interview because slick is slick, right? And so when I hear someone as slick as oil, oh, I get so pissed. So Tamika Mallory has been questioned about, like, who do you get, who pays you, girl? Because when I go to your, and I did this before in a previous video, when I go to your pages, it's very loose. It's not clear on who you're associated with. I guess you have your own organization. I find that interesting too because, again, is your it, I find that interesting, but let's go ahead because she has a list that she's a strategist. So I need to know, who do you strategize for? And the way she cleverly tries to say why she can't list or tell people who employs her is just, yeah. All right, so here we go.
should activists be with sharing where their money is coming from and what it's being spent on? I think this conversation is one that absolutely has to happen. And certainly, I believe in accountability. I think that when people are investing, as we like to say at our organization, Until Freedom, in your work, they want to see where the resources are going. They want to know that it's working. But I also think that there's a fine line between people saying be transparent, which means that you should put your entire income out for the world to see. I think it's important to note that every
Girl, do you think we were born last night? Do you think we were born last night? No, real talk. Like, do you really think that we are asking for you to take your IRS statements or your bank statements and plaster it on the internet? Is that what you think we're asking you to do? Is that what you think we're asking you to do? And so when someone tries to take a simple question and make it more complicated by being ridiculous in what she knows that people are asking her, that's what this is. It's a diversion tactic. No, we don't want you to put your bank statements on the internet, right? You don't have to release all that information. But there are people who let it be known by some type of way of some type of maybe just an itemized list of who is actually your who's placing the deposits in your account. So you most definitely can let that be known without putting all your business, and even if the numbers, you don't want it to be us to know that. But at some point, who are you associated with? Who's your allegiance? There's no getting around that. We should know that. And for you to try to sit up here and say like we want way too much information for you to be transparent about that is full of shit.
One who's asking questions is not really for this movement. And sometimes the reason why they're asking questions is because they want to be divisive. They want to cause issues and try to pick at us and really make us targets. And so we do have to be careful about how much is too much. Where does our privacy begin to?
So because we're asking you questions about being transparent about your affiliations, right? That makes us divisive, right? Now, this interview was done, right, weeks before Patrice Cullors, who's one of the original organizers and founders of BLM, announced that she was stepping down after it was found out that she had bought multiple $1 million homes. Okay, and the BLM has been it's been assessed that they may have raised over 90 million or whatever dollars. Right, they have not built a motherfucking thing. We don't know where nothing is. Like, we don't know where the money is, but we know she has $1 million homes and she steps down. So now just imagine that this woman will sit here weeks before and tell you that if asking questions that you may be divisive when wanting to know what people's intentions are. Can you believe this shit? So now we are the problem for asking questions, even though there's a history of people pimping our communities, coming around trying to be activists and not doing anything. Shame on her, and shame on fucking Lonnie, and shame on fucking Garcelle Bouvet for sitting there listening to this shit. Y'all just be wanting cute ass fucking interviews, and when shit don't make sense, you ask questions, hon. Fuck you mean? So you are divisive if you ask questions, and this is so. I'm not surprised by this. Like, I have been a part of what's that organization? The NAACP. And a lot of times, when I feel when you do a lot of these black organizations, black prominent ran organizations, the person who asks us a lot of questions is always stamped the negative person. They're the person who's not positive. They're the person, oh, they have an attitude or they're hard to deal with because they've used their brain and they've asked you some questions. You're supposed to be mindless to work with certain people, to be led by certain people. To be down is to be mindless. And anytime you step away to have an opinion that is free forming and that is different, that challenge somebody to think beyond just oh, this is the just challenges the person being questioned to think, you are a problem, you are an obstacle. It's better to just to pretend as if you don't see anything and go get yours. That's how it seems like.
Begin and end. We don't. I don't. I wouldn't ask to see any of your statements of every single financial dollar that you have received as as an individual. Yes, as an organization, we should know that. Right. We should know, what type of money are you taking? Is the majority of your money coming from corporations? Is the majority coming from just
Wait a minute. So you can still accept money outside of your organization, especially if you are contracted privately for services as a strategist. Yes, most definitely you per se can let your finances be known on the private and on your LLC end, hun. Yes, you can. You can have two. You can be accumulating money in both ways. So don't act like you can't. So no, both would need to be shown in case you do have, you are employed, because you can have your own business and still be employed by other people, girl. Stop playing.
Average everyday donors, which ours in my organization, Until Freedom, most of our support comes from just everyday people. And so those individuals absolutely should know more about what's happening with the organization. But I think people forget a couple things. One, being an activist and especially being an organizer in the ways in which I am, that means that I have to be independent from the system in order to continue to do this work. So how does that happen without the investment of the community? Otherwise, it would be part.
Yes, you do most definitely have to be independent of outside influences, and that's why you keep on trying to make the distinguishing of making sure that if you are to show your finances and your books on your LLC, it will show that you have your contributions are of the people. So right, so on the face side of it, it looks like you're good, right? I want to know privately who could be possibly paying you, hun, on both ends, right? Because you do make sure that make it clear to be known that it would most definitely be of it wouldn't be your, if you're receiving money from other people, it's a conflict of interest. And I've had that situation with somebody, with a BLM member in my home state, where like you can't receive money from our mayor and also be a part of BLM. It just don't make no sense to me, okay? Because it seems like if you have that type of direct connection, I don't know what you're gonna. What I did catch her doing was threatening to use her. What was she threatening to use her influence on BLM on a political adversary of somebody that she did support? Okay, get into that.
Time, and I can tell you, I think we all know we're not in a part-time situation. No. Nope. We're in a state of emergency. This is a very critical time when we need boots on the ground and we have to have people who are committed. That means
Peddling
that
your
our
book.
salaries that come from our organizations and from our work, that is something, that's how we eat, that's how we survive. It is, in fact, an actual job to be a 24-hour activist. We work harder sometimes and longer than people who clock in every day on a job. But I want to leave my grandchildren with a legacy. Yeah, I think we have evolved from the time where Dr. King, when he died, we know that he did not have the resources that he should have had.
Then go to work. Go to work then, hun. So what you won't do is try to flip activism into why you need your money, why you need some money, right? So what you saying to us, so yeah, y'all see me getting out these Cadillacs and you see these sponsorships and all this other stuff, but I gotta get mine. I gotta leave a legacy for me and mine, but I'm still for you and yours. You know what I'm saying? So, oh, who died? Okay, yeah, I'm coming over there next week too. Okay, you gotta check for me. Like that's what it comes across, girl. That you're telling us because you have amassed a platform, and have some influence that we now have to pay you for that. Fuck out of here. Get out of here, girl. And look at Lonnie's ass. I'm sorry, y'all need to see it. Y'all need to see it. Y'all look. Y'all most definitely need to see this shit. Look, just simple. Look at her. It's just simple. Just simple. Just going along. I need you to see their faces because they really rocking with this shit.
Is something, that's how we eat, that's how we survive. It equal time when we need boots on the ground and we have to have people who are committed. That means that our salaries that come from our organizations and from our work, that is something, that's how we eat, that's how we survive. It is, in fact, an actual job to be a 24-hour activist. We work harder sometimes and longer than people who clock in every day on a job. But I want to leave.
So how does that work when the guy from Kentucky, who is the actual organizer of the March for Breonna Taylor, says that no, hon, you are not an organizer for this? How does that work? Because he legit has says like you just come in at the last for the photo ops, for the photo for to be seen, because you get the cameras. Like, come on, get the fuck out of here. So where are you punching in and punching out on that situation? Oh, you mean because you and my son get on the internet and y'all do a podcast, which you probably get sponsorships for? Girl. Mm-mm.
My grandchildren with a legacy. Yeah, you know, I think we have evolved from the
Activism is not about leaving your children a legacy in terms of monetary value. Okay, you're gonna leave them a leg. You're supposed. It's traditionally what you won't do is flip this shit on some for profit shit. This is some bullshit.
time where Dr. King, when he died, we know that he did not have the resources that he should have had to take care of his family. And if it had not been for Harry Belafonte, who used his income from his art and entertainment to actually help Dr. King to move around the country, he helped him to live and to survive. Where would
Okay, but Dr. King actually put things together. And that's not to say that you have not put nothing together. I'm not going to take that from you. But what I'm saying to you, Dr. King was, ooh, I don't even understand how you could compare your activism to Dr. King when we're talking about someone who had written papers and stuff like that. He literally changed hearts and minds. I'm talking about hearts and minds through his work, through his pen. Like, what is you talking about? Like, how can you compare the two? That was actual work, community, grassroots work. Girl, girl. That wasn't just we show up when a body drops work. That's what it seems like. Y'all seem like ambulance chasers. Y'all the new lawyers. Y'all worse than lawyers. Y'all ambulance chasers. Fuck y'all.
we be? So I think people have misconceptions about the work. They really do. This is a really important piece.
You really do.
You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to prove anything. You've already done the work. You've been out here 25 years. We know you're committed. And I think that's true. But I do understand that people who see people like me who they believe in getting closer to what they think it may be proximity to whiteness, maybe proximity to whatever success looks like. They've seen them walk away from the movement before. And I do think that we have a responsibility as activists, as organizers, as people who claim.
Again, this is weeks before Patricia Cullors it gets outed for or walks away. This is weeks. An organization that she deals with. Did you not have any questions about what their plan is? You also come out and you want to talk about Dr. Martin Luther King. When he presented something, he at least put the time and effort to make sure it was concise. It was beautiful. Like he had an outline of what needed to be done, where we should be looking towards. Like I'm really trying to understand how you think your activism and Dr. Martin Luther King activism has been the same. And whereas I know you say you've been doing it for 25 years, I know and recently have heard of you within the past 5 or 6 years. And from what I remember, or from what I think I've read, that your work was necessarily in like a more of a woman's movement and not per se a part of the Black Lives, in essence of Black Lives Matter. So now don't hold me on that. I could be incorrect, but it's not been a whole 25 years to like a Black Lives type of matter movement. Okay, girl. That's just what I remember, and I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, please put it in the comments. But girl, she tried, like she does it for me, and maybe because she does it for me. I'm sorry, y'all. All right, so that's her, right? So we got Tamika, hustle ass, Mallory. I don't think I really need to finish listening to this, but I just want you to. I just wanted y'all to see a little bit, like what. And this is May 17th, right? This year. I wanted you guys to see like how they get this shit past you, and how you just think it's like butter. She speaks butter, like it's butter. And you see, if you go back and watch this interview, and you watch Garcelle's face and you watch Lonnie's face, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for these women, but they know better. The hustle is hustle. And I don't care if it comes with lip gloss or she look like she could be your good Judy or good girlfriend. No, the hustle is the hustle. And sometimes you got to close your eyes and just listen. That's what I do. Close my eyes and just listen. And I don't care, black or white. If I hear it, I hear it. And for me, I hear it with her. I'm sorry. All right, so back to Shaun King's hustling ass show, right? So this like this long standing history. Like these are like this is like a tag team duo. Like they getting the money. Okay, so this was 2015, his one of his first controversies. And so the Shaun King controversy. Now explain. The man, look at John B's little brother. We all know who John B is, and don't even act like you don't. We all know who John B is. If you listen to R&B, that's his little brother right here. John, come get your fucking brother. Like he done lost his mind. We know that you invited to the cookout. He came to the cookout, had some baked beans and macaroni salad and grilled chicken, barbecue chicken, and now he just won't go away. He won't go away, and we need him to go away, like for real. Black Lives Matter activist Shaun King is currently at the center of a controversy that has nothing to do with the police shooting or brutality. It's instead about his personal life or in racial identity. Now, like Shamira Rice said, this is a white man, okay, a white man. Over the past several weeks, conservative media outlets have published multiple pieces disputing different claims King has made about his life over the years. And the latest accusations, which caused the story to trend on Twitter, have called into questions whether King is biracial, forcing the activist to disclose personal details about his life in hopes of disproving the accusations. There's a bit of history to conflict, but the fact that a self-identified biracial man is being chastised by conservative media outlets as part of an attempt to discredit him shows just how fluid the entire concept of race can be, and that makes it difficult to know who's right and wrong when questions about race comes up. Okay, maybe I need to read that again because I don't care who's questioning what. You is or you're not, or you're lying or you're not. Like nobody. You can't say you're white and you see something wrong over here in the sense of with another white man, biracial man, and because you're white you can't call it out. That has nothing to do with nothing. We're not gonna do that. Like it's like some of y'all want to make certain want to make a portion of society silence to see in bullshit, and I just don't know. That's if it's not disrespectful and you're not really kind of talking out of turn, and this is not to me talking out of turn. If you see a hustler, call a hustler out, white or black, charlatan or not. Like if he's a charlatan, you call it out. Um, Conservative media outlets have questioned Shaun King's background, as they should. King, who's a blogger on the liberal Daily Kos, has been a very prominent face of the Black Lives Matter movement since the police shooting of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. So any accusations leveled against him are a big deal to the cause, which aims to end racial disparities in the criminal justice system and police use of force. And the latest accusation, Milo Yiannopoulos on Wednesday wrote in Breitbart, I follow them on Twitter, a conservative website that King is a conservative website that King is not black or biracial. King, who grew up in Versailles, Kentucky, previously said his mom was white and suggested his mom was white and suggested he's biracial. But the report cited a birth certificate obtained from the Kentucky Office of Vital Statistics that lists King's father as Jeffrey Wayne King, who is purportedly also white. According to Breitbart, although Kentucky birth certificates don't always name the biological father. After the accusation went viral, CNN's Don Lemon reported that a family member told CNN that King parents are both white. At first, King fired back at the accusations on Twitter, saying that he is biracial and has a complicated family history. He also claimed that he didn't lie about his race to obtain an Oprah scholarship to attend Morehouse College. Okay. Oh, it gets tricky. Oh no, it's are you black type of shit. People be lying. This is you. He's related to Rachel Dolezal too. Scholarship to attend Morehouse College, a historically black college. Breitbart reported that the scholarship is only awarded to black men, but the college stated that it does not grant admissions or scholarship based on race. Now that's fucking confusing. It's a scholarship for black men, but you don't base it on race. Okay, that's weird. But on Thursday night, King went into further detail into the blog posts, disclosing deeply personal details about his life to fight off the accusations. So long story short, basically he's trying to say he's known for the last 30 years of his life that the man listed on his birth certificate, which is a white man, was not his real father. And that his mother at some point in time, let me see how he phrased it. My mother and I, my mother and I have discussed her affair. She was a young woman in a bad relationship, and I have no judgment. Doesn't that seem like the most convenient ass excuse ever? Like, don't you guys think that that's the most convenient ass excuse ever? This has been my lived reality for nearly 30 of my 35 years on Earth. I am not ashamed of it or of who I am. Never that. Now, let me tell you something about families, and let me tell you something about family secrets, okay? Shaun King came out looking the way he looks, and which is a white passing man. Like, he is a white man. He comes out and he could pass, right? Italian, Sicily, like we've seen Italian men. Like, he looks like a white man. You learned at 5 years old that your father's not your father, but what made them tell you that? Let me tell you something about the South, and let me tell you something about families. They keep secrets, okay? And for you to tell me at 5 years old that they came to you and told you that your dad, who you think is your dad, I don't believe him. This doesn't even make sense. Why would you break that news to a 5 year old when there's a man in the house? Uh, but then the family members don't know, but he knows at 5 years old. Come on, help me make. How does that make sense? The family members say he's white. No, this seems like a family. Okay, he's out here getting this money. I am pretty sure his parents are reaping some of the benefits. I'm pretty sure his freaking Appalachian ass mountain ass mother is going along with the get along to get this money. That's just how the hell this comes off. So this is one of the, and even as far back as 2015, this is something that's already been has came up as something to watch out. Like, people have not believed this man from the very beginning. There's always something coming up. Now, I will say that this picture right here, sophomore year in high school, he does look like he could be black. I will say that most definitely. He does look like he can be black here. Okay, he's gone through phases of, looking real pale, pasty skin, to looking like a little, but this picture is not the best picture. So I don't know, the quality of high school pictures though could be impacting this. So I would not need to see a clearer picture. But he seems as though he's always had some sense of feeling like he was black. So I will give him that. But I'm going back to the Appalachian ass country ass mama and him hustling. There was something he had said here, and I was like, I'm just looking. Like, I didn't read all of this one because, like I said, it's a lot. I want to bring, okay, so he's being questioned here, right? All right. Conflicting stories. Now, this other story, now this one is really, Shaun King keeps raising money and questions about where it goes. Now, I'm the same way. I've been asking, like, the BLM, like, where's it going? Where's the money? What's the plan? Like, Tamika Mallory always comes out talking about she's an abolitionist and she believes in defunding the police. And the pushback she got from the community, like, whoa, wait a minute. I need to call 911 on niggas. Most definitely. So she most definitely got a lot of pushback. But on top of that, if you want to introduce something about defund the police, like, it needs to be it needs to be an extensive plan that really outlines, like, what is it that you want to obtain, or what's the conversation supposed to be about, especially if you want other people to support it out in these streets. You want us to blindly support it without you being able to provide any details. So she'll do shit like that. But that's what I'm talking about, them not being for me, real activists, because it doesn't seem like they've outlined like a plan that makes sense, or something that people can really get behind, and saying, hey, I know this group over here is working on this because they've made their agenda really clear, and it's not just seeming like they're ambulance chasing, because that's what the hell it seems like. Look at this white man. See, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so right now we're on the website, the Daily Beast. But this is what I'm talking about. So now this is looks way. I mean, this is a clear picture. This is not the high school picture, and I'm looking for our features at all costs. I don't see our lips. You know, we usually got full lips. I mean, sometimes we don't. I don't see our nose. I don't see it. Okay, I don't see it. I don't see it at all. Okay, the other thing about these hustlers within our community, you'll notice that Umar Johnson does it a lot too. He'll make a lot of references to historical like people that we admire, right? Tamika Mallory just mentioned Dr. Martin Luther King, because the more solid people that they mention, the more they will look solid, right? Because there's like, oh, an association thing that happens in your brain, right? Oh, this person knows about this person. Oh, they really like they're really a good person, or they really know they're really knowledgeable. You'll feel like they are just as knowledgeable as the person they're mentioned, because that's what they want you to think. They want you to think of them, that famous person who you feel comfortable with because of actual past triumphs, or whatever you feel about them. They want you to look at them the same way, so they'll do that a lot. Kwame Brown does a lot of saying that to you guys when he talks about Boyce Watkins, always talking about Claude Anderson, right? He knows a lot of people love Claude Anderson, so he's going to always mention Claude Anderson, so that somehow you kind of put him up there and you look at him like that because he has an association. So it's name dropping at its finest, clout and all that stuff, but you do it so it makes people feel comfortable about you. The same reason he was like, hey, I'm friends with such and such and you're friends with such and such. You automatically kind of feel kind of like, okay, they're probably cool because I like this person and they're cool. So it's sort of like that same logic that happens where people need or think like cosigns, and seeing who people associate will tell you a lot about them. And it's like a lot of time, no, not necessarily. That's not always the case. So I say that to say, if you see Umar Johnson, he's always talking about on this date in 1812, this king was born and this and that. Like he'll do a lot of that. Astrology. I'm not thinking do astrology, but he'll make sure he'll tie it in seven. Seven means this, and and it becomes this like weird shit. He also said, I think he even claims that he was born on Jesus's birthday. Like they'll do a lot of that, but that's a part of the hustle. When Shaun King and progressive journalist Benjamin Dixon launched an ambitious multimedia reboot of Frederick Douglass's abolitionist newspaper, The North Star, last February. Now, this article was published May 25th, 2020. Now, we're in July 2021. So, this is just about over a year ago that this was published. So, this is not far off. This isn't old news. This isn't dated in what's in the news currently, with Tamir Rice's mother calling him out for not doing what he said he was going to do with funds, right? So there's a pattern of behavior, and where a pattern of behavior isn't always like all the evidence you need. But with that pattern of behavior, there's some factual evidence that you can pull out of it. And what you can pull out of it is actual personal accounts and people, financials of saying, like, where exactly is this money at, right? So that makes it factual. So now compiled with the pattern of behavior, it makes it just stronger, right? So that's always a good thing when you have actual factual evidence you can look at. All right, so North Star, Frederick Douglass, already good stuff, right? Oh my gosh, he knows about the abolitionist newspaper. He's up on it. He has a clear message he's trying to get across. Now, this is what this comes across. They're always going to try to grab something that you love and that you really respect. Pastors do it a lot, but yeah, it's a tactic. It was celebrated across social media by prominent voices, including Susan Sarandon, Michael Eric Dyson, and Megan Mullally. A month later, the company boasted on Twitter that it already had multiple angel investors and more than 30,000 subscribers, contributing $5 per month for students and $10 a month and up for general public. Subscribers at the highest giving levels, according to one former employee I spoke with, included Sojourner Weaver, Brene Brown, and Black billionaire philanthropist Robert Smith. You don't know who he is? I think it was about a couple years ago. He paid all of the tuition. All the student loans for the graduates of Morehouse University, who gave a healthy $10,000 a month to Shaun King in his endeavors. So he's most definitely someone who tries to stay involved and promote and puts his money where his mouth and investing into the Black community. So I hate when you see people like that get taken advantage. If every single subscriber gave at least $5 a month, student plan level, subscriber revenue totaled more than 125,000 monthly, or 1.5 million a year per figures tweeted by both King and the North Star. Now, all of this money. Okay, he had a really ambitious plan. And they outlined that a little bit of what he said. So King had promised through the North Star that we are going to be launching a full news website, an iPhone and Android app, 4 brand new podcasts, online video, new news broadcasts, and so much more. Just looking at that and all of that he lists, I think would anybody who knows like how hard it is to put something together and make something happen knows that this was really ambitious what he thought he was going to be, what he's selling. Okay, let me be clear, because he's selling. So what he was selling was all of these great things that made people see it as like, oh my god, this is the next best investor. But the type of money he's bringing in, sort of like a Umar Johnson, like you really got to see something being done with the money before you really trust that someone can pull something so great off. Like this is a lot of this magnitude. This is a lot. 4 brand new podcasts, online video, news broadcasts, and so much more. Do you know how many people you actually have to staff to be able to get all of that content out in a timely manner? I'm just being real. All that content on a timely manner. That's not, it's really hard to do. Susan Sarandon, y'all know who she is, and like I said, the North Star. It's going to evoke. If you know a little bit about history, it's gonna make you think that. It's gonna make you trust it a little bit more. So it was so funny to see her cite. Not funny, but she cites it. Like she's done some reading. She knows what she knows some history. So for her, she said the North Star was created 171 years ago by abolitionists to guide the nation toward freedom. Today, I am joining Shaun King at Benjamin P. Dixon and the team at buildingthenorthstar.com to rebuild it. Click the link below to join. So this is one of the things that he had promised. But 14 months afterwards, it has appeared the site has struggled. The mobile app has disappeared for over a year, and a full new site displays branded. This is how you know. Look at the trickery and the the hustle shit that's going on. So he'll still have like a janky website out, and so he'll appear as though he's putting out like great content. But he goes, the mobile app disappeared for over a year, and a full news site displays branded the North Star apparel for sale alongside relatively scant original journalism. So he's getting bare minimum of journalism, probably something he's paying somebody from another site, probably paying them whatever they're asking offer to use their work on his site. Like, and what he'll do is that he'll run these articles as though he's giving out great journalistic work, but he'll make sure he has his brand on his different merchandise and stuff for sale, so people could still buy. Mm-mm. Yeah, he has the apparel heavy on the site. King told me in an extensive email exchange for the story in early April that the North Star stumbles included the dearth of deliverable promised can be chalked up to the same overzealousness that has been the downfall of his other projects. So there's been several projects that this has happened. So my whole thing is like, are we really not into asking questions? Is it really that impolite? That we don't ask questions? Is there why are we so polite about calling people out when we see that they are taking advantage of us? And I don't know why in our community we feel like we should give people the benefit of the doubt to this extent, right? Umar Johnson has the best hustle going on. It's 11 years and counting. At this point, I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him to continue this. for the rest of his life. I'm gonna be completely honest because I just think it's sort of now turned into a reality show for me because it's just like, no, they fell for that. Like that's how it feels like watching it. It feels like I am watching America and my people get tricked. And it feels like a reality TV show. It feels like I'm stuck in a reality TV show. Just to see that people are so in despair or so wanting to be led. I ain't never seen as many want to be led as motherfuckers in my life. And it be our community. Anybody who step up. I mean, I am on the clubhouse and any nigga can step up with a strong tone and there'll be at least 5 or 10 of the bitches ready to follow behind this no good ass nigga. And he would have a rap street as long as whatever. No real accomplishments or whatever. He was the fucking he was supreme of the fucking city at one point in time, but he is on your clubhouse as a supreme thought being. He's a leader. So people just want to be led so bad. Long as somebody else is doing it and appears though they're strong. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let me see. So he just goes through like he goes, when we launched the North Star virtually, every advisor I had insisted that we should not do every advisor I had insisted that we should not do written articles, podcasts, and videos news at the same time. King wrote, I just knew we could do it. They were right. Now, and it's so funny because the one thing about certain people like this, they just want to be in charge. They just want to look like they are making things happen. And when they do that, like if you're working with them and you really have a piece of the puzzle or you're a piece of the pie, you can make things happen. They make it so hard to work with them. Because every suggestion, everything is so micromanaged, and that's how usually you know that this person is way over their head. They really try to micromanage everything. They're so concerned about looking like they're in charge and that all the credit goes to them. So yeah, it's really weird. But seven former employees of the North Star, three of whom spoke anonymously out of fear of reprisal by King, and I most definitely believe that Black Lives Matter in the organization are bullies, to be completely honest. And six of whom were told they had to sign non-disclosure agreements to receive severances. Said the issue was less King's over ambition than his absenteeism. Get into it. Inconsistent on absolute control. Oh, I'm sorry, insistence on absolute control and radical incompetence. They said he had little interest in feedback from staffers. I can't work with people. Like, if you can't take feedback, there's something, like, you do not deserve to be a leader, right? You literally want people to just to not be insubordinate because you're so sensitive. Everything is subordination to this type of person when you question them, right? Because you might make them feel some sort of way. They said he had little interest in feedback from staffers. He had ostensibly brought on for their lengthy resumes and media experience. So basically, as I said, he had brought people on with like extensive resumes who had the media experience, despite him not having the same thing. He said two iterations of broadcast news shows were scrapped and their staffs and hosts fired before they even aired. Okay, so literally he'll do shit to appear. He'll put things in place and immediately abandon it, right? Because what he's doing at that point is like he's gonna make sure he's not gonna pay out. He's not gonna pay out he's not gonna pay out the money that he's taking in. So he'll bring you on board, give you a little severance to get you to go away, but overall, he's not in it for the long run. So he quickly disbands shit. And so there's just been cases that they went through of times that like of several things that he did, and it's like extensive. There was like something that he said, and I said, "Oh, this wannabe, this white man is crazy." Okay, this is a quote from somebody who worked for him. While it should be noted that no criminal or civil charges have ever been filed, Oh, this is story. Okay. So he had took all this money in online. Now he gave all the money back, right? And then he was like, all the money has been returned. So he's so slick, but he had received like $17,000. Where is it at? Look at John B's little brother, y'all. Come on, don't tell me it's not. Don't tell me it's not. Look how he gets caught, right? Look how he gets caught in lies. And that's how you know, like, he's an ambulance chaser. There's a lie he got caught in. I wanted to show you guys. There is a. Is it this one? Okay, let me go ahead. So, while it is said to. While it should be noted that no criminal or civil charges had ever been filed against King, the story in the question of former employees of the North Star was one of self-sabotage by him, and really shady fucking business with a liar and a fraud. So basically, that's what like past employees are saying. There was one where he had took in like seven. This is a part of it. Now this is what I talk about, the ambulance chasings, because even with even Tamika Mallory. So in the meantime, in between time, when there's not a new dead body and there's not a new protest going on, what are you doing, hun? I do see Lee Garrett and I forgot him, Ben Crump. They most definitely are at every, picking up the cases. And I think a lot of times when I listen to people talk about like who is the lawyer and how really they don't be the lawyers, I think sometimes people realize, sometimes there'll be a head lawyer. All right, and what they'll do, they will bring on other lawyers to handle the daily in and out of the case. So sometimes they may not be involved in every detail of the matter, but also at the same time, I think the bigger picture for him, I'm not trying to speak for nobody. I don't know nobody, but I think looking at it, the bigger picture when you're Lee Garrett and you're Ben Crump and you have all this exposure and you have all these people looking at you, they will take a lot of cases on, and there will be other lawyers that may work them right underneath them, and lawyers will go through and work that out and how they're going to split that. But it is really important that Ben Crump and Lee Merritt, attach themselves to a lot of cases and seem like they're building a movement and setting a pattern of behavior. And there's no better way to do it than people who have the eyes of people. So yes, I know it does come across. I'm not here caping. I'm not saying anything, but I did hear Michi X did make a point in one of her videos that I did watch where she said like, "Oh, you didn't even know what's going on." I just wanted to, give you that perspective that lawyers do give out cases and have people work with them, so they may not know everything. I just need some water. Hold on one second. So they may not know everything that's going on with the case. Okay, now this is how you know, like he is. All right, so that he be having hashtags and like people be having questions. So there was questions of course about the North Star. I mean the North whatever that the newspaper he tried to open. So there's questions about what happened with that, right? So but there's more, right? Because there's been several. There's been several hashtags about this same white man. The hashtag Shaun King let me down hashtag, a reoccurring Twitter trending topic, is often used to tag threads that that um that enumerate the issues with the many projects King has launched fundraise for, and then abruptly shut down before completion. The list includes a 2011 fundraiser to climb mountains, abandoned 4 days into training, per King's own book, a 2014 fundraiser for King's Life Goals University, and a crowdsourced fund paying for trips leading to the identification of neo Nazis. When the fuck has black people been walking around looking for neo Nazis? Okay, members of Justice Together, which is, I guess, his recent group, the anti police brutality group, King pulled the plug on in 2015. Nope, I guess it's not. This is 2015, so this is another something. He posted an open letter accusing him of gross mismanagement. Okay, members of Justice Together, the anti-police brutality group King pulled the plug on in 2015, posted an open letter accusing him of gross mismanagement. Days later, members of another group he formed co-signed their own open letter making similar accusations. Okay. Okay. This is in 2019. A board of coalition of activists from organizations including Black Lives Matter, Socialist Party USA, Ferguson Response Network, and Veterans of Foreign Wars signed a post tag "Sit Down, Shaun." Okay, so even Black Lives Matter before they got found out because they turn on each other in the very beginning. Like they always turn on each other when the other one is getting found out. Oh my God, I would never. That's not what you're supposed to do. But then they get found out later, so it's like this. Like okay, when it's your turn, who's next? It's like that type of thing. Like who's next? Is it Black Lives Matter? Is it the Socialist Party USA? Is it the Ferguson Response Network? It becomes like that because it's like ain't nobody be who they say they are and they just be hustling. Hashtag sit down Shaun stating that in the past 4 years, King has launched several efforts, all of which failed or faded away without explanation. Each of these efforts had sustained monetary investments for both community and donors, with questions that remain unanswered to this day. Last year, King responded to the unsustained calls for greater transparency around his personal finances and fundraising totals by issuing a 72-page report compiled. Now, this is the one I want y'all to listen to. He think he is so slick. Look, look. Okay. A 72-page report compiled by an expert review panel made up of 7 people with close business and personal ties to him that he says details every penny he has raised for social justice causing dating back to 2014, a figure he puts at 34.5 million. I promise y'all, I'm not greedy. Hit me up. We find something. I want to open up a church or something. Like, it don't make no sense. This is crazy type of money on here. But look, wait a minute, because he's so fucking slick. It's hard to quantify or put dollar value on what they've done, but I do so without hesitation. But most of the money, 20.8 of it, is based off a 2018 fundraiser created by Charlotte and Dave Wilner to benefit the immigrant advocacy group Races. While King promoted the fundraiser to his followers via social media, it's definitively false that any boosting he did was responsible for the amount of money that was raised. David Wilner told me. We tracked growth pretty carefully. I was graphing it in some cases minute by minute. We have all the data. This isn't my opinion. It definitely wasn't him. Now, I wanted y'all to hear that because remember I told y'all about ambulance chasers, right? So what he did was that there was this another organization called there's this another organization, as you can see, Races. Okay, RAICES, that was created by Charlotte and Dave Wiener that was going on. He attaches himself to that and he is like, I guess, putting it on his social media. And so he then turns around and is included in whatever he raised. He's saying that he's a part of that to that extent. I say that to say they need a cause. They need something to attach themselves to. So even if it's someone else's fundraiser or something else someone has going on, they're going to attach themselves. Same way Tamika Mallory attached herself to what was going on in Kentucky with the community organizers there who were already in place, right? They're going to attach themselves. So not necessarily being that they're the ones who are the ones with their foot on the ground, as she liked to say, but there'd be the actual people with their feet on the ground. We had 22 volunteers in our living room at one point, Charlotte Wiener told me. Shaun was not one of them. Any one person taking credit for it is, and I read this word earlier and I can't get it, Deathico? And no, I don't know that word, to what we are trying to do. So I'm pretty sure she's just saying he's not helpful, he's being counterproductive, he's just not. No, he's not a part of what they're trying to do, and he's the wrong person, basically. Asked about Winter claims, King writes, to this day, multiple staff members from Races have full unfiltered access to my Twitter or Facebook pages. They are my close friends, and they have used my pages hundreds of times to amplify countless fundraisers, petitions, news stories, and more. They have had access for several years now and uses my pages almost daily. It's hardly to quantify or put a dollar value on what they've done, but I do so without hesitation. So basically, he tried to flip it and say, "Hey, I make my." He's assessed a dollar amount, get into it, of worth to his following, right? Because I mean, that's a part of the game. That's why people want followers and stuff. So what he's saying is that I let them have access to the people who support me. So so for me, for him, he feels like he's a part of it. You get what I'm saying? So yeah. So he'll lend his support with benefits and if it's going to help him. This is essentially a reiteration of King's response to questions raised by activist D. Ray McKesson. By however close King is to race his employees, the fundraiser he claims credit for, the largest in Facebook history to the point, wasn't launched by the organization or its staffers, but by Wilners on their behalf. Okay? When I pointed this out and again asked for comment, King did not respond. And he also listened to this one, King, and he knows what he's doing. King also did not respond to my questions about the reports of a mission of a $17,500 grant to Justice Together, the anti-police brutality organization he disbanded in 2015. So now he got rid of the group abruptly. He gets rid of it. He takes in the money and dismantles the group. So he had taken $17,500 for grant money that was given to the group is called Justice Together. King cited that the grant in this Facebook post from 2015 and in his emails he sent to Justice Together board members the same year. The money is further confirmed by a 2015 IRS filing from the Produce Fund, the grant-given organization. King noted in a Medium post that he never filed taxes for Justice Together because every dollar that was given out online was returned. The IRS came back and said, "Hell to the no, you didn't send that money back," and they took his tax exempt status away from him. So it took them 3 years to catch up with him, and the fact of the matter is he didn't return the $17,500. He returned everything else. King auditors wrote that when he abruptly unilaterally shuttered Justice Together in 2015, he refunded 100% of the donations made. But a representative from the Produce Fund, which provided the $17,500 grant, told me that King never returned that money. So he's up $17,500, right? Nor did he submit the mandated report explaining how the funds were used to support justice work. King did not respond to questions about the disparity. So he ain't answering about that, right? He had all the questions. Oh, I gave all the money back. No, you gave all the money back except this portion of it. Also omitted from the report is a $10,000 donation made by Justice Together by David Hymaner Hanson, a former member of the organization board, which he told me he had no resemblance to any legitimate board in terms. Okay, so he guessed he was on the board, and so he said it had no resemblance to any legitimate board in terms of responsibilities and insight. So basically, it's sort of like why Umar Johnson won't put a board together for what he's doing, because you're letting somebody in, right? So they're going to see how the business works. They're going to see how you're moving. So that's why Umar is just like, I'm the sun god over here. Like all of it's me. I'm doing all of it. Don't ask nobody. Nobody else knows what's going on. That's why he's doing it, because it's kind of a way to insulate yourself from being found out. So yeah, responsibilities and insight. Hanson resigned from the organization in November 2015. So he'll put these boards together to seem like he's going to be super transparent, but then he'll give no real direction and no real, set no real agenda, and then he'll get rid of the organization and disband the board and take whatever money that was taken in. I would want to know where it went, Hanson says. Shaun promised me accounts on spending, never arrived. I just chalked it up to, okay, well, I'm just not going to get involved in any more of that with him. That doesn't mean that the causes that he's pushing aren't worthy of support. It's just that maybe he shouldn't be the one collecting or holding the piggy bank. King did not respond to questions about the missing $10,000 in 2019. He wrote, "The Justice Together was an experimental idea launched in good faith that I simply could not effectively manage. I privately own these failure, and I publicly own the failure today." Mama, I told you he's good with words. That boy good. That boy good with the words. That boy good. Y'all gotta pay attention to this shit. This shit is just a hustle, and it goes on. Like it goes on. So this article y'all can go read is at thedailybeast.com. At the end of the day, we just have to ask questions. These people seem like they for us, and they seem like they are have our best intentions. They have good intentions for us, and we're all on the same page, and we're all working towards the same goal. There's nothing wrong with asking questions, and there's nothing wrong with checking the temperature of people's intentions and making sure that they are in the right place. You know, Tamika Mallory is talking about white proximity and all that other dumb shit that she's talking about. Like, cause that's all that was, girl. You can just give us an itemized list of, you know what, I actually do want to know how much people are paying you. Personally or private. I want to know who has contracted you personally for your services, ma'am. Yes, I do. Most definitely. But yeah, like I said, we just adding members to this smorgasbord because I don't understand where Miss Angela been. She ain't saying nothing. She ain't saying nothing about our Patrice Colors, but always ready to drop the BLM and the group and what they're doing in your CNN spotlights, and you know they're part of your talking points. So if they're part of your talking points, I need people to speak up and say like what's going on and where's the money at. Why are you not asking questions? Why aren't you as angry as we are when we want to? Why are you not expressing the same emotions that we have? I want to know. And I think that's really something that we got to really stay focused on. You know, Amanda Seales want to call everybody out. She's in everything. She has an opinion about everything. You know, what's going on, sis? Why so quiet, sis? Y'all not here? And you know, more or less, like I said, any chance that I get to talk about Charlotte and the fact that he still got his job, the fact that he's up there talking about giving out Spanish fly like it's you know, that pineapple candy, you get what I'm saying, and bragging about it. As long as he's up there, I'm going to incorporate him. I'm going to talk about him in my own way. Okay. So, like I said, they're the vehicle. They put the message out there. They interview the Umars, the Tariq Nasheeds, the people who are misleading, the people who are just getting money out here. Yes. The Tamika Mallory. Yes. The Angela Rise. Yes. This is part of the network. So, most definitely calling it out. You bourgeoisies. And even though it's called I'm Just Bougie, which was actually just a play on me, just like telling people F you, because, like, if you have a little bit of expectations, I have a little bit of standards, they like to call you bougie. But I think this is that. I think this might be the bad part of the bougie crowd. That I don't think I want to be a part of that. But yeah, I think, you know, call people out, call it how you see it. And for me, this is how I see it on top of what Kwame Brown is saying. So, you know, if you have any questions, please leave it alone. Let me know. Like, why do we need all of this? How many years do we need to see this type of behavior to call a thing a thing? Okay, so leave your questions, leave your comments. I appreciate them, good, bad, and different. I know how to ignore a comment. So I am out. I've been talking for a minute. You know my motto over here: stay bougie, and I'm serving you feminism from the soul. Keep it bougie, keep it posh, and I'm out.